and welcome back to Pathology. Today I'm coming at you from my bathroom. We are going to talk all about everyday alternatives to toxic products. So the first thing on our list are shampoos and conditioners. Let's talk first about what happens when you use a non-organic product on your hair in the shower. If you find that when you shampoo your hair in the shower, it gets all lathery and soapy and foamy, and it just, makes all those bubbles on your head, absolutely stop using the product. This means that it is a shampoo that contains SLS, or sodium lauryl sulfate. This is an emulsifier, or something that is created. It's a chemical compound that creates those suds to make it lather up on your head. So your first thought might be, well, isn't this a good thing? Because it acts like it's getting really clean. It's not only an emulsifier, but it's also a surfactant, which means that it increases the surface area of the product so that it can spread easily, can get all the way down to your strands, all the way up to your roots, and really spread out that product. SLS is also the reason why your hair gets slippery when you add shampoo. It also strips your hair of its natural oils, so you'll have to shower more often because you're stripping the hair of the oils, which makes your oil glands spark and create more oil. So you actually have more oily hair because you're getting this lather. Very tricky. You might also be interested to know that SLS is found in insecticides. You can find it at the car wash in the chemicals that are sprayed onto your car. It's in floor cleaners, used in places to get a very harsh clean, a chemical clean, and not anything that should be anywhere near your body. Also found in a lot of normal name brand shampoos are silicones. They're loaded with silicones. They promise to make your hair shiny and flowy and reflect the light a certain way, but these are very poor on your hair's health and your body's health in general. Another ingredient that is very common is sodium chloride. You might recognize that as a salt, a drying agent. So you're literally taking a cuticle of hair and just completely drying it out of the natural hair oils. Why would you want to do that? I couldn't tell you. Other very common additives in shampoos that you might find on the shelf at your local store. 1,4-dioxane, which is a known carcinogen, and there have been many lab studies on this chemical in lab rats, and it almost always produces cancer, which is why it's a known carcinogen. Are DEA and TEA, and by themselves these are harsh on your scalp, but the scary thing comes when they combine with other ingredients, other additives, other chemicals in the shampoo bottle. They actually can combine to create a chemical reaction which causes NDEA, which is a very common cause of cancer. Lastly, a very common additive in shampoos and conditioners alike are parabens. Parabens are in tons of products, especially cosmetic, shampoo, conditioner, even hairspray, stuff like that. And parabens simply extend the shelf life of the product so that they can sell it for a very long amount of time. This is why a lot of cosmetic products can sit on the shelf for, the next 5 years, and you might notice the expiration date is very far out compared to organic products. Added parabens are directly linked to breast cancer specifically, and that is for men and women. It's a known endocrine disruptor. It can cause fertility issues, fetal abnormalities if you're already pregnant, lots of different things. It can add to stress and anxiety. It can cause mood changes, mental disorders, so many different health changes just as a whole on your body. We will be talking a lot about endocrine disruptors throughout this whole video because they're very common in products. Basically, what an endocrine disruptor is a chemical or an added compound to a product that when ingested or put on the body and absorbed through the pores, it mimics your hormones, specifically estrogen most of the time. So that is really scary because once it's in your body thinks it's a hormone, thinks it's estrogen most of the time. And so that can cause cancers, it can cause reproductive issues, a whole slew of damaging effects to your organs, your mental health, tons of different things. So definitely do your research and explore what an endocrine disruptor is, because they are absolutely everywhere, and not just in products. They're in a lot of different types of food, cooking oils. I mean, the list is literally endless. So now let's talk about one of my favorite hair brands for the shower, for shampoo and conditioner. I love Odell. This is the curl defining no lather shampoo. It has deep moisture, strength, enhanced bounce. It also says that it's sulfate free and has 100% natural fragrance, which is great. You don't need any other added chemical fragrances on your scalp. It's also vegan, not tested on animals, dermatologist tested, color safe, and it's from a company that is 100% woman created and operated. My other favorite is Pacifica Pineapple Curls. This stuff smells like you are transported to Hawaii. So good. This is the curl defining shampoo. I love the smell, obviously, first of all, but it's formulated without silicone. It's for all hair types, not just curly. It's vegan, cruelty-free, which are bonuses for sure. It's with hyaluronic acid, pineapple, and super oils. Once again, a lot of these ingredients literally have like raspberry extract, so really cool. It's also made of recycled plastic, which is also a bonus. One thing that's important to note is it definitely takes some time to get used to the non-lathering effect of shampoos, especially when it's so ingrained in your brain from society that that's what's getting your hair clean. Your hair, once you start using non-toxic products, it might take a little while because your oils are still running like crazy and you're not stripping them in the shower every time. So when you first use them, you might have a little more oil than usual, but after, a week of normal use, your hair will thank you and it will be beautiful. I promise. All right, next up is hand soap. Many popular hand soaps tend to contain ethylene oxide, which is a known carcinogen or a cancer-causing agent. Methyl isothiazolone, I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly, but that's a bad sign. If you can't pronounce it, it probably shouldn't be in any of your products, right? And this is linked to contact dermatitis, so different rashes and things directly on the skin, as well as reproductive cancer specifically. Parabens, like we talked about before, which are our endocrine disruptors that are basically added just to promote shelf life, which is very unfortunate. So my main tip for hand soap is to buy from companies that fully disclose their products. A lot of them do not, and that kind of goes, I guess, with any product. But for some reason, especially hand soap, they're a little bit shady about this. Another thing to remember is also not to buy hand soap with added perfumes or fragrances. It's nice to have your hand soap smelling great, but just make sure that's from something like an essential oil or a fruit extract and not from something man-made. Yuck. I like to use Puracy natural hand soap, Aunt Fanny's probiotic power hand soap. I've heard great things about. Or you can even use hand soap from essential oil companies such as the Thieves from the Young Living essential oil brand. Is a beautiful, beautiful fragranted soap that's all natural. So next up, we are going to talk all about floss, and specifically Floss Picks. I love Floss Picks. I use them usually twice a day. However, I recently learned that most floss picks, because they are made with plastic, are loaded with polyfluorinated substances or PFAs. PFAs are linked to a slew of adverse effects, including thyroid diseases, hormonal changes, cancers, specifically liver damage when it comes to organ damage, and the list goes on. There also was a study that I looked up from Harvard in 2019 that specifically studied women who used Oral-B Glide floss picks. And what they learned was the women who use these floss picks opposed to just normal floss or organic floss picks had a loaded amount of perfluorohexane acid in their bloodstream than those who did not. So that is a very dangerous compound. Once again, it's a carcinogen. You do not want those in your bloodstream. So that is a very eye-opening and pretty terrifying study as a consumer. I love the Humble Company Floss Picks. It's a Sweden-based company that makes biodegradable floss picks. It's, I think, $3.99 for a pack of 50. They're made of plant-based materials. They're cruelty-free, vegan. They're mainly made of cornstarch, which is really cool. They are 40% made of biodegradable plastics called PLA and 60% made of plastics PP. Next up is Toothpaste, lots of toothpaste. Very similarly to shampoos, a lot of people think that you need that good toothpaste lather going on in order to get a good clean on your teeth, which, is a completely false narrative, 100% false narrative. The reason for the foaming, once again, just like your shampoo, is that the product is ridden with SLS, that sodium lauryl sulfate, which you don't want on your hair, on your scalp, much less you want it in your mouth, swallowing it, going into your actual system and not just being absorbed by your pores. Scary. A lot of people have adverse reactions to SLS when it touches their mucous membranes. If you look it up, it's pretty disturbing, but it causes like tissue mouth peeling, where literally your skin starts sloughing off, like the inside of your gums and your cheeks, because of SLS, because it causes that foaming and that sloughing as a side effect. Gross. Another main ingredient in normal name brand toothpaste is triclosan, which you also want to avoid at all costs. So the main reason triclosan is in toothpaste is because it works as a antibacterial, and this simply just prevents gingivitis, or tries to prevent gingivitis in your toothpaste. If you're brushing a few times daily, it can help with that. However, there are many studies that actually link it to antibiotic resistance, which is fascinating. If you have time, look those up. Another scary thing about it is that it is another known endocrine or hormonal disruptor, and it's linked to have very similar effects on the body as BPA, which we know has been banned on our food products. Another main thing to look for on your over-the-counter toothpaste are dyes and fragrances. So mint is fine as long as they are using oils or fruit extracts. If it's like strawberry flavored, cotton candy for kids is probably not a natural flavor. So definitely look into those. And dyes are super important to study as well. FD&C Blue #1 is a very common dye for toothpaste. If you've never noticed that your toothpaste is blue, you should probably look into that. Most toothpaste should be white or off-colored white. It should not be dyed. If it's an artificial color, you know that there are chemicals, different compounds in there making that artificial color. And you're also putting it on a porous surface on your teeth. You don't want your teeth to have hues of blue. Very weird. I don't know why that's a thing. Make sure it's not in your toothpaste. Specifically, this type of blue dye, though, is linked to ADHD, allergies, and cancer. My favorite toothpaste, if you cannot tell, I definitely should be sponsored, but I'm not, by Hello products. I love Hello products. I've gotten John hooked on them as well. We love them. My favorite, because I have sensitive teeth, is Hello Sensitivity Relief and Whitening Fluoride Toothpaste. I used to use Sensodyne for probably the last 12 years. I have extremely sensitive teeth. I go to the dentist regularly for sensitivity problems, and I was very terrified my whole life to ever switch from anything from Sensodyne because I thought that was, the gold standard. However, when I dug into the ingredients in that and how it's so protective of your teeth and how it helps with sensitivity, I was pretty floored and a little bit just shocked at what I've been putting into my body for so long. To be completely honest with you, I have had no issues and have not been able to tell a difference from switching to Hello. I am like the poster child for sensitive teeth. I am also just a tooth, caring, crazy person. I brush my teeth 5 times a day. I floss at least twice. I am just crazy about teeth. So if I am loving this, you will love this. The reason I love Hello products, and I could talk about them for literal days, because they're cruelty free, they're free of dyes, parabens, any added unnatural flavors or artificial sweeteners, triclosan, microbeads. They even have kids for ages 2+, and it's wild strawberry. Next up is face wash. Common face wash ingredients, which may shock you, are SLS, like we talked about before, for hair and teeth. It's also common in face washes, so that's how you get that foaming, soaping, lathering effect that feels so nice on your face. Well, Newsflash, Brenda, it should not be doing that. Another very common ingredient that can be hidden under different names of chemicals or formed in different chemical reactions is actually formaldehyde. Mineral oil is also a bad thing, petroleum, paraffin, parabens, and DEA. We already talked about SLS, so we'll talk about formaldehyde. Formaldehyde is basically used in cosmetic products, even like face wash, which you're cleaning your face, you don't need formaldehyde, but it's added in there as an antibacterial, antimicrobial type agent. I don't even need to say why formaldehyde is icky in products, but unless you're embalming someone, like, you probably don't need to mess around with formaldehyde. Pretty much all I gotta say about it. Direct exposure to formaldehyde in cosmetic products is directly linked to myeloid leukemias. So that is really scary as an oncology nurse. Freaks me out to the core that we could be intentionally putting something on our skin that could lead to a cancer. Next is mineral oil and paraffins. So a lot of people think, oh, mineral oil is an oil and paraffins are helping that oil to moisturize the skin. However, it actually damages the skin's barrier. So these ingredients are also made with petroleum, and when all of these products get together, you are actually increasing your skin's water loss. The petroleum and the oil specifically do not even have a chance to absorb into the skin because of their molecular size. They just sit on the skin and then you're rubbing it and you're washing it right off. So it actually makes you more susceptible to sun damage because you're just stripping the skin and it's not even going deep into the pores. Very interesting. And lastly is DEA. This one is very similar to SLS. It can make products more sudsy. It can also lead to more of like a creamy substance that ends up being sudsy, or a sudsy substance that ends up being creamy, if that makes sense. On its own, DEA is not particularly harmful. However, like we talked about earlier in shampoos and conditioners, when this product is combined with other products, when they're physically put together, they can form to create NDEA, which is a very scary cancer-causing compound. It's a super powerful carcinogen that everyone should avoid. One of my favorite all-time face washes is rather new to me. I got it as a gift for Christmas from John, and it is the Origins Checks and Balances face wash. It smells so good. It even has like this natural shimmer to it. I love it. I love it so much. It smells like, I imagine, heaven. You open those pearly gates and you're gonna smell Checks and Balances from Origins. Heard it here first. Next up is makeup remover wipes, specifically the wipes. Not only are the wipes incredibly environmentally toxic and harmful and just wasteful, you use one wipe every time you take off your makeup or at the end of a day. It's just very wasteful to do just by the sheer volume, but they also contain a lot of harmful ingredients that you might not have known about. So let's dig into that. First of all, makeup remover and the wipes ruin your pH balance of your skin. The natural pH balance that your skin makes, that's how God made us. We have our own pH balance of our skin. These completely strip the skin of that balance that's going on. And the reason this is because the majority of makeup remover wipes contain very high amounts of alcohol. If you put alcohol on your skin, you're just gonna take away all of your oils. A lot of makeup remover wipes also contain MI, which is a chemical that is added. It can cause some pretty severe allergic reactions. It can cause skin blistering, even skin swelling. Most of them also have artificial fragrances, and I've never really understood why. I'd rather just smell clean. I don't know why you need to add like flowery, fake smells onto what I'm literally using to take off my makeup at the end of the day. It's very odd to me. These fragrances not only are just kind of odd smelling most of the time, but they are endocrine disruptors as well. Most makeup remover wipes also contain many other endocrine disruptors like triclosan, phthalates. There's an endless amount. My alternative for makeup remover wipes that you buy at the store actually come from a company called Just Ingredients, which I absolutely love. Love. My wipes are super dirty right now, but I love them. I actually try to use them like 3 times before I wash. And the crazy thing, you guys, of all, is that I do not put anything on these wipes. So I take all my makeup off with them. You can tell they are just a super soft and delicate microfiber. It just wipes away your makeup without any product. I don't put makeup remover on these. You definitely could, but you really won't need to. And then I follow up by washing my face with my Origins cleanser. Another thing that I really appreciate are these little tags to hang them. So I put one in the shower and then there's one by the sink and they're ready to go. You really can use them like 3 times and then you throw them in the washing machine and you're not polluting the environment. You don't have any harsh products because it's literally just a towel. I love these. Next up are tampons. The FDA classifies all period products, so tampons, pads, menstrual wipes, anything that is related to a woman's menstrual cycle as a medical device. This essentially allows all companies that make these products to not have to disclose their full list of ingredients. And I have an exact quote from the FDA's website that says, as long as you're using regular tampons, they do not have to be organic, they are safe to use. What? So the reason most tampons are a little spooky, especially because you're literally putting them in your body where the most absorption and just crazy amount of hormones lie, is because most tampons, the common name brand tampons, they contain ingredients and chemicals like formaldehyde, which we talked about before, preserves the shelf life. They like to put it in the cotton because you can basically then sit the tampon box on the shelf at Target for the next 15 years and they will still be good to go. Like we talked about before, formaldehyde is a huge allergen and a known carcinogen. They also contain dioxides and furans. These are actually byproducts of the chlorine bleaching process. So you might not know, but your tampon might be super white, and that's because they're literally chlorine bleached that way, which once again, kind of like the toothpaste color, who cares? The purpose of it is to collect blood. If it's working, it'll be red real soon. Another common thing are fragrances, which is so disgusting. Like I thought that fragrances in toothpaste were kind of weird, but in tampons, why do they need to smell good? That's so weird. You don't need to disrupt your pH balance at all. A very scary ingredient is pesticide residue. Also, a lot of tampons have secret plastics that reside in the cotton, and those are endocrine disruptors once again, kind of like the Floss Picks. So what you need to look for when shopping for organic tampons that are not going to harm your pH levels, expose you to carcinogens that increase your cancer risk, all those kind of things. You can look for the words organic, 100% cotton, free of fragrances, dyes, parabens, pesticides, bleach, chlorine. Make sure it also says non-toxic and that they use plant-based applicators as well. Some of my favorites are L tampons. It's literally the letter L with a period next to it. And the next product that I really love that has become my #1 favorite and go-to are Rael. All right, and last but certainly not least is deodorant. Yeah, the #1 ingredient to avoid in all deodorants, no matter what brand you use, is aluminum chlorohydrate. This is especially common in antiperspirants, but it can also be snuck in deodorants without even your knowledge about it. Every oncology nurse everywhere, oncologist, anyone who works in that kind of field cringes when they hear aluminum deodorant, and that's because it's directly linked to lymphomas and specifically breast cancers. The aluminum in the deodorant plugs the sweat glands, is absorbed by the skin, and then it mimics estrogen in the body cells right next to all your major lymph node systems, and this can lead to lymphomas and breast cancers directly. There is a study I found from October of 2020 from the International Journal of Molecular Sciences, and in this study they injected 20 immunocompromised mice with aluminum directly. What ended up happening was that 17 of 20 mice, so all but 3, formed a tumor at the injection site. Scientists stated that this is significantly relative to the exact same thing that happens when humans put small amounts of aluminum over a long period of time on their armpits. They also noticed that the mice were having significant increases in their chromosomal breaks. So that is so scary, you guys. Look for deodorants without aluminum. Please, please, please. Deodorants and antiperspirants can also be filled with parabens, propylene glycol, trichosin, which is that endocrine disruptor, as well as filled with DEA, just like some of the other products we've talked about. In deodorant, DEA is used to neutralize acid acid in the armpit that comes out, in the form of sweat. Scary thing is that DEA is usually used in like metalworking, detergent, things like that. If you go to www.nj.gov, you will find a statement on DEA, and I quote, "This chemical, DEA, is on the special health hazard substance list because it is corrosive," and corrosive is in all caps and bolded. Literally can't make this stuff up. On the government website, it's saying that it's harmful, and yet it's being pushed to us as consumers in our everyday products. My favorites for deodorant. I love the Love Beauty and Planet Maru. I don't know how people say that. Butter and Rose. This is the pampering deodorant. It's the cute one with all the flowers. It's plant-based, has 24-hour odor protection, long-lasting fragrance, plant-based deodorizers, vegan, never tested on animals, no aluminum, no alcohol, and no parabens. So that is a gold star for me. My second favorite is from Just Ingredients, and it's the Vanilla Peppermint. This is magnesium deodorant with organic ingredients, free of aluminum, baking soda, parabens, phthalates, triclosan, GMOs, artificial fragrance, propylene glycol, gluten, and formaldehyde releaser. So this one is very transparent, and I love that about her. And this one's more of like a cream-based deodorant. Really spreads and stays on very well. It also smells like Christmas, so you can't beat that. Thank you guys so much for watching. It means the world to me that you would come alongside me in this journey to detoxify my life. I'm very happy and joyful that I can share my knowledge with you from an oncology standpoint and just from a standpoint of a person who's trying to make her life more organic. So I hope that you guys can find something useful from what we talked about today. If you implement any of these changes, please let me know down below. I will link all of the references that I use so you can take a peek at some of those studies. They are fascinating. But thank you guys so much, and I hope you have a really beautiful day.